Hello, everyone. Welcome to Humanity's Pause. Welcome to it. The little pause button. My name is Tanis McRae, and you're listening to Talking to Tanis, Evolve on Purpose on Transformation Talk Radio. The intentions have always been to highlight the systems and the process that I have found help me in my self-awareness journey. In my last show, I had an amazing conversation with my own son, Nick McRae, and how consciousness played a huge part in navigating addiction and evolving me as a parent. Like, that's a big deal. If you haven't watched it, check it out. Not very often we're having these really deep, conscious conversations with our children. And I know that our journey through consciousness really helped us in probably one of the darkest times so far of our journey here, and how we were able to really grab onto these systems, especially the one I'm going to be talking about today. This one I know assisted me immensely in that part of my life, in the understanding of the design of my oldest son and of my youngest son, and seeing how they're not systematically the same person. Never thought that anyway, but really to get that right down to how can I parent best by honoring their design. And I think that that's an incredible tool. So when this is over, you grab your kids' birth info and you go get that free chart, and you have a little looky-poo at what your kids are in the human design system. Invaluable tool for me. And once again, I'm going to welcome my very good friend, Leann Wolfe. She's a human design conveyor teacher. Awesomeness about it all. Totally gets it, and allows us to understand sort of that deeper understanding and who we are, and so kind of how to navigate the chart slightly. I think we'll talk about other ways to do that. But we started our journey 7 years ago in human design, and it's just been such a beautiful connection that I wanted to bring her back, because I felt like we got just the tippiest tip of the iceberg last time we were together in the human design, which is a beautifully simple yet complex process. Simple ideas, but complex processes to it. So welcome so much, Leann. Welcome back, I should say. Welcome back.
Thank you very much, Tanis. I'm doing really, really well. I already work from home, so the humanity's pause has kind of fit into my lifestyle a little bit.
You were practicing.
Yes, I have been practicing for a few years, similar to yourself.
Yes.
So it's been interesting. It's been interesting to watch the processes happening on our planet right now, for sure.
It is. And one thing I know that we talked about briefly just a couple of days ago was the transits and what that actually means. Well, first of all, would you like to just identify what is a transit in case people aren't familiar with that term?
Sure. So basically what happens is the human design system is fundamentally, at its core, it's based off of astrology. So it's based off of planets, it's based off of that frequency. And then it also brings in and marries in ancient teachings and ancient sciences with today's science. So the whole transit piece is, when you pull your human design chart, it's like the snapshot of where the planets were at that moment for your chart. But the planets aren't, just sitting there. They're moving. Mm-hmm. They are evolving just like us. And those transits are that movement of those planets. So we can take a look at today's just now chart, so that we can have a grasp as to what's happening here today, if you'd like.
And those of you who are listening on the radio, this is something you can access right on which website has sort of that during the day. You know what I mean? You can snap on today's transit. What's the website?
So there is 2 places. Hopefully I'm not breaking up too bad.
No, You're coming through clear for me.
Are you there, Tanis?
I am.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good. It just says my internet is unstable for a minute, so I'll just give it a second. All right. So mybodygraph.com is one place that they can go to, or jovianarchive.com. Either one of those are, that's the original places for Ra Uruhu, and his legacy lives through those two websites.
Okay.
So I recommend those two websites if you want to grab your chart there, as well as see what's happening daily through the transits there.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. So I think what I want to do actually, Tanis, is I think I might want to move us back to a little bit of a moment in time so that we can have a little bit of a story here.
Oh, beautiful. I love stories. You know, they're my fave.
Yes. So I'm just going to edit this just now chart, and I'm going to move us back to March 4th.
We're going to time travel, everyone.
Yeah.
We're going to time travel.
So back on March 4th, we had this lovely little transit take place, and it was the planet Mercury moved into the gate 30. This gate 30 is all about the recognition of feelings, but it's also about how we are dealing with fates, how we are designed to deal with fates. And this 30th gate is also a part of the right angle cross of contagion.
That's appropriate.
The juxtaposition cross of the fates.
Okay.
And the left angle cross of industry. So what really began to happen when Mercury moved into this 30th trait, Mercury's all about communication and thinking. All of a sudden, there was this massive communication about this contagion. It had already taken place and was happening overseas in places like China and Italy. It had already happened, the end of November, beginning of December, over in those countries. But the world didn't take hold of this until this transit moved in.
Right.
Because the contagion of the conversation could happen. All of a sudden, our communication and our thinking could take place then. Does that make sense?
It makes sense, because what it is I don't see myself necessarily as separate from the universe. Like some people are like, oh, it's just a planet floating out there in the solar system. But, when you look at the bigger picture, we're not an isolated thing. We're not separate from them. We're not separate from our environment. We're not separate from our planet. Our planet's not separate from the solar system. And of course it influences us. Just like any giant body influences us, the sun influences us eminently. So if we know the sun influences us, it makes perfectly logical, not just even spiritual, but logical scientific sense to me that there is an impact. We are a single universal organism. So when something, it's like, I love, my yoga teacher talks about, if you pull the bottom of your shirt, the top of your shirt moves too. Like that's how connected everything is, right? So when Mercury goes through these things, what you're doing is that's an influence. That's part of the bigger organism, right?
Yep, for sure. And really it's our conscious evolution.
Right.
In order for humanity to wake up and walk through this with the universe as we all walk through this together, it's just saying, hey, we got to take note.
That's right.
And we need to see how our industry is being, operated on this planet. We need to, relax into the fact that it's okay. The fates have us.
Right.
Right. And it's just presenting itself in this contagion. So when I look at also here, we had the whole channel of mutation at that moment as well.
Which is channel 3 to
60.
Which goes from the sacral to the root.
Yep. And that's all about mutation.
Right.
This is how we mutate. This is how we see the old and how we adapt and mutate into the new.
Right.
So, it was just a very interesting time on that day to see how this all began to drop in, especially in the Western world.
Right.
Everybody went, oh, hold on a minute, there is something going on.
Which I found amazing, because
Yes.
very often in the age of what we call fake news and all that, we do sometimes not trust the information that's coming to us. And I loved that there was a sense of people, there was a truth that was hit.
Right.
And when we come back from our break in a few seconds, whatever, we'll kind of go a little bit more into the now. But I love this beginning of this story.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that to me, it brings comfort.
Right.
That this is bigger than one little thing.
Yes.
This is something, that's in the divine plan, or the design of the plan of the bigger organism.
That's right.
And we have to understand that organism, again, is being experienced in a lot of different levels. It's being experienced in the individual level, the collective level, the global level, the universal level. And
Yes.
to me, that's just, again, logic. That's not spirituality or woo woo or metaphysical. That's the truth for me.
Right.
I think it would be the truth for anyone if they stopped and give it a bit of a thought. So
Yeah.
thank you so much for bringing that up. We're going to
Mm.
continue on with that conversation when we come back from the break, and explore just a little more of human design. And thank you all for listening. And don't forget, you can call in if you have any questions, or put
Mm-hmm.
them in the comments section of Facebook, and we'll see them and we'll answer them. So we'll be right back.
Awesome.
Hello, welcome back to Talking to Tanis with me, Tanis McRae, and my very special guest, Leann Wolfe, who is sort of a Wonder Woman with the human design system. We'll just call her that, because why not?
Right.
We can be whatever we want. And before we get into the topic we were talking about before we left for the break, is there any reason where they can find these resources that you're putting out? That yeah, I know you do videos and you've got this wonderful library. Just
Yes.
let everyone know where they can access that.
Sure. So I started a YouTube channel to walk through the mechanics of the body graph, and just recently I began to show how all of this evolution is taking place. So there's some recent videos on there to show the transits and understanding the global shift that's taking place, so that we can all walk through this experience together and be empowered to live our truth, to be our own self master, and be completely aware as to, oh well, here's the mechanics, it's okay, it's just a movie, let's just witness the movie and be solid within self and centered in self. So
Perfect. And what's the address there? How can they find that?
if they just type in Leann Wolfe, they can find it.
And Leann has two
L-
N's, no E.
Right. So Leann, and last name is Wolff.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Two N's, two F's, no E's in the end.
That's right.
Don't be putting those E's on the end.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Awesome. And I'll also have a link to that up on my website page as well, under Leann's guest profile. So you can click on that and access her website and the videos that we're speaking of. So before we left for break, we were talking about this incredible March 4th, where March 4th. Hey, good one.
Yes.
It's like it's an action.
Exactly.
We were marching forth.
Yes,
March
we
4th,
were.
2020.
Exactly.
With 2020 vision.
Yeah. So the other interesting pieces of this, just so that we can, lay some groundwork for this, is we were on this right angle cross of consciousness. And where does consciousness lie? It lies here within what we call the head center.
Right.
So the 63rd and the 64th gate. Because really, when we look at the mind really is our decoder. It's our decoder of the experience. It's our decoder of consciousness. But what can also happen here is there can be a lot of pressure to lose focus, a lot of pressure to become anxious, because we can't figure out the unknown. We're not designed to figure out the unknown. We are designed to walk in it through our own truth. So, truth.
True.
Pluto's been sitting in the 61st gate for a very long time, and it's still going to be there for about another year and a half. Pluto's all about truth and transformation.
Right.
And this, again, lies in the head center. This is all about inner truth. Okay.
Mhm.
It's all about our own inner truth. What is true for us? And in order for us to really know our own truth, it is to be able to discern the experiences that we're having through the correctness of our human design.
Mhm.
And that discernment happens through decision making.
Right.
Really? That's the whole core. That's the whole core of this whole teaching, is that discernment piece through, instead of going up into the mind and up into the clutter and chaos and distraction, drop those decisions back into the physical body and
Mhm.
allow that mind to unclutter so that it can be the decoder for consciousness,
Right.
so that it can understand our own inner truth, right?
Right. And I know that anxiety comes when we spend too much time in the head. Like that's the actual physical response to being trapped in that loop in the mind. And I know for me, when I teach this to people, I say the truth is actually a feeling in your body,
Mm-hmm.
not a knowing in your head. But you have to be quiet and still enough sometimes to actually presence with the body. And especially right now when there's so much information going around, like you said, discerning the truth. And
Yeah.
so it's really about sort of accessing the body's response to the information rather than the mind's shutting down or shutting in or going off on its own tangent.
Right. So when we look at, as we move forward to today,
Mm-hmm.
The mind has, it's built to measure, it's built to make
Yep.
judgments, it's built to do that. But when we can move that conditioning clutter out of the way, and we can live that healthy decoding mind and allow for ourselves to decode, like Tana says, then you can really feel that truth in your body.
That's right.
Right? So when we look at today's transit, take a look at how many times the 61st gate is
Right.
represented. So we have it in Pluto,
Right.
in Jupiter, we have it in Mars.
Right. And Mars is, of course, is where our energy goes. That's the planet of energy, right? It's the planet of, it's the planet, I guess, of decisiveness. So, like, what's my action? What action am I going to take? And then, of course, Jupiter is all about expansion.
Yep.
And because it's huge, the planet itself is huge. So it has a big influence. You can, absolutely can speak more to those if you like.
Mm-hmm. So this really is like our laws, right?
Right.
And then our maturing energy is what we call these in the human design language.
Okay.
And the truth and transformation. So here we are, we've stepped into this whole awakening piece.
Right.
And we are really being challenged by the consciousness field to go, oh, what is my truth? How can I mature through this? What is my actual law of my own truth?
Right.
And really, how can I transform and be truthful to self by being connected to that consciousness field?
Right. And, I want to bring up the term wake up or awaken, because a lot of people think that's, again, a metaphysical, spiritual term. But really what it is it's awareness.
Mm-hmm.
So awakening is becoming awareness. I would say we're in probably the most global awareness.
Yes.
Single awareness we've been in for a long time. My mom, who was born in 1931, sorry, Mom, for your age thing there. But it is, she said the last time there was this kind of global awareness was World War II.
Yes.
And I think that that's an important aspect as well, that awakening really is just an awareness of who am I in it, and where am I in it, and then what do I want to choose to be in it. That to me is awakening in consciousness.
Yep. And again, what I love about this system is that it provides you with the movie.
Yes.
It provides you with the movie. So instead of, jumping into the movie and being anxious and fearful and nervous as to what is going on,
Right.
it's about, sit back in the energy field of your own physical body. Just
Yes.
move yourself back in there and then watch the movie and then wait for your interaction style to be called upon so that you can then play your part.
Right.
And what that means is that strategy and authority. So the strategy of your human design, for example, this person today, if they were born right at this moment, would have this strategy of to respond.
Right.
So each type has its own electromagnetic field around it. And that type allows us to know, how do we interact with the other?
Right.
So, for example, to respond, those people, generators, manifesting generators, they're designed to be asked for their energy, and then they can then go inside and respond to that request for the energy.
Mm-hmm.
Our manifestors, they're designed to inform. So their strategy is to inform. Well, they're here to initiate self through the power of these transits
Right.
and be able to be fully connected with the consciousness field and initiate self to go, hey, there's a doorway that needs to be opened here.
Right.
But that strategy of to inform, you got to let everybody else know that you're opening the door so that they don't get sucked into something that they don't want to get sucked into, right?
Right.
And
Right.
then we have our projectors, and Tanis is a projector
Yes.
here to wait for that invitation. So that type is here to wait for us as generators and manifesting generators to say, hey, I need some guidance here. Can you
Mm-hmm.
help me navigate these waters?
Right.
And then we have our beautiful reflectors. They are here to wait that lunar cycle because, again, fully connected to the consciousness field.
Yes.
And they get to witness the consciousness field and reflect back to us, hey, how are we doing?
Yes.
Right?
Yes. I have a friend who's a reflector,
Mm.
and she said, oh, being a reflector in these times, interesting journey. And she
Yeah.
just said, yeah, she's like, was thankful that she knew that what was going on with her, because being so wide open in this is, I'm certain, quite the experience.
Yes. Yeah. And the wisdom that is being brought forth through our reflectors, the conscious, aware, awake reflectors is profound, right? Most of them have been, waving the flag for a while, saying, hey guys, we're not on the right track. We need to readjust. So, this whole reset, reframe, and pause has allowed us to do that.
Right. And I think, a lot of people, of course, yeah, the distraction can be quite uncomfortable when you
Mhm.
go out of, work, day to day, get things done. That's a big distraction. And it's a really big difference to decide, okay, that's not present anymore. And then what happens, of course,
Yeah.
is the things you were avoiding
Mhm.
tend to come up for review. They tend to
Yep.
come up for review. So discomfort isn't the enemy here.
Mm-mm.
Discomfort is the gateway. It's the doorway. It's saying, okay, well, why am I so antsy? What
Yeah.
if I just stop for a moment? What would happen?
Right.
I always say to people, try it on. See what happens. See what
Yes.
happens when you stop for a minute
Yep.
and presence with what's going on. Those transits, that's very, very fascinating. And I
Yep.
think that to me, again, it's a comfort. There's a
Mm.
comfort there that this is a bigger experience of the single organism that is the universe, that is us, that is
Yep.
we're all sharing an experience. I often say to people, we're having three experiences simultaneously.
Mhm.
We're having an individual experience, that's for sure. We're
Yep.
having a collective experience, yeah,
Yep.
that's for
Yep.
sure. And we're having a universal
Mhm.
experience. So
Yep.
the big picture.
Yeah.
And at anyone, wherever you put your focus, wherever you put your attention and intention, then you will experience that. So don't forget to honor yourself by actually stopping and taking a little minute with that individual experience and just saying, well, okay, I've been seeing the collective experience. I get it. And now what is my internal individual experience? And then, have some fun and play in the universal one.
Yes.
And I'm going to talk just a tiny bit more when we come back about the importance of play and fun.
Yep.
I really believe that is the thing, the one strategy that's going to get us through this in a beautiful way.
Yep.
And so when we come back, I want to just take a couple of minutes and really focus in on that aspect of what we're experiencing right now. So thank you, and everyone. We'll be right back. Again, if you have any questions or you want us to focus on something specific, please either call it in and let us know or put it in the comment section if you're watching on Facebook Live. All right, we'll be right back. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Talking to Tanis, Evolve on Purpose, which we are all doing right now. We're evolving on purpose, hopefully. Not being kicking and screaming into the evolution, but actually just sashaying and dancing through it. That would be my choice. Anyway,
Right.
We're here with Leann Wolfe, human design conveyor and teacher and Wonder Woman and all those things with the system that a really wonderful way to introduce you to that bigger picture and how it's already written. It's already there for you. There's information. You don't need to make it up or find it. It's all right there for you. So welcome back, Leann. And we're going to go into a little bit discussion of Mercury, correct?
Yeah. So to continue on with our transit conversation, I just wanted to bring this to is when Mercury moved out of the 30th gate, it popped over to the 55th gate. So the 55th gate is all about, am I still there, Tanis?
You are. You're breaking up a little bit, but I'm hearing you fine.
Okay. So the 55th gate is all about the spirit of abundance.
Oh.
So we went from the 30th gate saying, hey, what's our industry? What's going on with our industry? What do we need to change in our industry to now, what is our abundance? And how do we find that? We find that within the spirit of self. There's no outside valuation system going on. Right. So money and things and cars and houses and books and blah, 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 that's an outside of self valuation system. And what the evolution is asking us is, what's our truth right now? Right. And where's your spirit of abundance in all of this? Are you still looking outside of self to value yourself? Or have you dropped within your physical body and used that as your abundance? So the other thing that's fun is Sun and Earth, right angle across of the vessel of love. It's literally asking us to love the universe and to love our physical bodies. It's literally asking us at this moment, within all of this truth, within our abundance, within this knowing that there's a mutation happening,
right,
to love our physical body and the universe. Like, how powerful is that?
And how perfect. I mean, we always say you can't make this, up, right?
Yeah.
You can't make this up. It's like a perfect, they call those the perfect storm, right?
Yeah.
And I know nothing boosts the immune system more than self-love, self-care, self-awareness. Yeah. And the immune system responds to your idea about yourself.
Yep.
And that's powerful.
The immune system sits here in the spleen.
Right.
So the fear will destroy the immune system, but the awareness will build it up.
Right. Big difference.
Here's your map to the awareness. This is your movie.
Yes.
How can you drop into your own spirit and love yourself and love your body and understand all of this in a way that's way deeper than the surface level? Fear is nowhere near the depth of this information.
Right.
As you see, there's absolutely nothing touching spleen.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
There's nothing activated in there.
There's nothing activated. So this isn't about fear. This is
Right.
about awareness of the spirit.
Even the ego, the heart does not have any activations, which is the eye, right? The
Right.
little eye.
Well, yes and no. The ego plays a part in both the material way and the spiritual aspects of the human design system.
Right.
So, it's a part of our awakening, and it is also a part of our material plane, because we are on this
We're just breaking up right there, Leann. It's
plane.
so she was saying that,
how to be healthy on this material plane. Okay.
Yeah, you kind of lagged behind there. I was just saying it's part of we were just addressing the heart aspect, and you just said if you just wanted to zip over that again, you went just a little alien on us. We sounded like you were coming in from the outer space. Which is fine.
I may have been.
You may have.
So when there isn't anything activated,
Right.
This is really a place of great wisdom.
True.
So how can we be healthy on this material plane, take correct action, and not allow for our minds to run the show?
Right.
How can we let the physical body be our guide, be our, truth, allow for that truth to drop into the physical body so that this new energy can take hold. And it's also teaching us our direction.
Right.
This great pause, awakening, awareness, it's saying, I'm going to show you a direction. You can relax and trust us.
I heard someone say, I believe it was Richard Rudd with the Gene Keys, and he said, when will people realize that the biology is the new technology?
It is the only technology.
It's the only technology. Yeah.
Yep. Like if you look at science and what they do and what tech companies do and what pharmaceutical companies do, everybody's trying to replicate what goes on in this physical body.
Right.
And they're all trying to figure out consciousness.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And when we just are present, and again, here we go, 50-second gate, keeping still mountain, right? So in this evolution, it's also saying, take a pause.
Yep.
Hold on a minute. Nourish yourself in all of this, and take a pause and go into your own spirit.
Yeah, rest your body.
Yeah. Because there's a direction.
Oh, there's a direction. And I think most people spend a lot of time in recovery of their body, not in the relaxation of their body.
That's right.
And so somewhere along the line, someone decided that stress and tension is productivity.
Yep.
And being on purpose. And in reality, it's quite damaging. All of our stress-related illnesses are coming directly from the fact that we do not stop and presence with what's actually going on in my body. We get stuck in even in exercise regimens, and we overdo those, or we underdo those, or we whatever, when really that conversation with your own body, it's going to be a conversation with your own body. And you can take the information from the collective, but what works well for you may not work well for another.
That's right.
And that's why the communication is so important. And I think that's what human design also teaches us is we're a unique, absolutely unique being.
Yep.
I often say 7 billion times a sperm had an egg, and we're not the same thing. We're not golden retriever puppies. No. We're, you know what I mean? We're so unique. We're so specific. That why wouldn't we take that time to get to know one another? I think it's a really, really good point.
Yeah. Totally. And when you talk about stress, that's right here in the root center.
Right.
And the root center, is also our fuel. It's our fuel for this experience that we're having. Right. And, how can we do that joyfully? How can we do that with play? How can we bring grace into this and live through our own principles and our own spirit while we go through joy? So, Tanis, you want to talk about play. So
I do. I want to talk about play. Thank you. In my intro, it says, why not have fun doing this? Why not have fun in that conscious conversation? It may sound odd. Consciousness is so much joy and fun for me. When
Mhm.
I go in to assist somebody to transform a pattern, and I'm seeing that point of origin of fear,
Mhm.
I'm seeing that point of origin of trauma, I'm seeing that point of origin of a decision about who they were. And often only they were 2 or 3 or 5 or 7 or 12 years old, yet they made this
Mhm.
massive decision about who they were based on that experience.
Yes.
When I'm right in that energy of that with somebody and it transforms, there is an effervescence. It's like you open a pop, it goes,
Mhm.
psh. That actually happens inside your energy body when you transform fear, when you transform a pattern.
Yep.
I wish I had a projector in my head. I know I'm a projector, but I wish I had an actual projector because
Mhm.
it's impossible to demonstrate to you. It's an internal feeling that I get, but
Mhm.
because I'm penetrated and I'm right into that little piece with you,
Yep.
I feel a pop,
Mhm.
and it is I giggle. I mean, so often I'm
Right.
giggling and laughing because there's such joy in transformation.
Yep.
But very often we're hearing the word mutation, transformation, transmutation, change, awakening, and it sounds so serious. And
Right.
it is. It is a serious thing. But I'll tell you, when you introduce play, when you introduce joy, when you introduce curiosity, if you can't get to
Mhm.
happiness and joy, introduce curiosity, get curious,
Yep.
open up your limitations, your ideas, your belief systems, and go, does mine include any play? Does
Mhm.
it include any joy?
Yep.
My family gets so annoyed with me because I'm like, oh my gosh, let's play a game, let's
Right.
play a board, and they're like, okay, settle down, mom. But it's true. I love that aspect of how that affects my body.
Yep.
And I don't need a great deal of huge things to actually create the joy.
Right.
And so for me, this is a pivotal piece of getting through this.
Yeah.
You have been given an opportunity to be at home with your family.
Mhm.
And I was a school teacher, so we do not need to do millions of, do some workbooks, do some quiet time. But boy, oh boy,
Yep.
the play, and not structured play.
No.
Not like, well, sometimes a board game, but for the most part, watch your children play.
Yeah.
Watch how they interact with you, with a cat, with the dog, with each other, with the circumstance. Nothing is
Yeah.
going to move us through this experience faster
Yep.
and more beautifully than play and then
Yep.
joy. And so, wherever it is, it's going to look different for you than it looks for me.
Yeah.
And it's going to, what does,
Mhm.
and then I don't know that so many people have stopped and asked themselves the question, what do I do for play? Not
Right.
entertainment.
No.
Not
No.
entertainment. I'm not talking about entertainment, like
Right.
watch a show or
Mm.
whatever, which again, is perfectly fine. You do
Yes.
you.
Yep.
I'm not
Yep.
putting down any edicts here.
Right.
Free choice, 100% of the time. We are the planet of free choice. Go ahead and choose. But sometimes you don't know what to choose. And what elements of play still exist in you?
Mhm.
What elements of just intrinsic joy are still there? What hasn't been completely oppressed and suppressed by the conditioning, the fear, the
Yep.
uncertainty, the anxiety?
Yep.
What if you introduced pure, unadulterated play?
Yep.
What would it look like?
Yep.
Unstructured, unfocused, well, focused, but just play. And
Yep.
and the people who are going to lead us through that are our children.
Mhm.
Our children, they know how to play.
Yep.
And I really think that's an important piece. We still have a bit of time, and I
Yep.
would love
Yep.
to address how human design helps parenting, because that's where I felt it it held the most important. I understood that my oldest son is a manifester, and that controlling him was not going to get us anywhere, but
Right.
informing him and him informing us. Our youngest son, Aiden, is a manifesting generator, and that he is introspective. He has moments of what some people would call melancholy, but it's actually this really rich creative time. And I don't know that I would have really saw that without the human design.
Right.
So I wonder if you could just address in the last few minutes just how beneficial this is for parenting.
Well, really, you just said it.
Oh, sorry.
Right? You just said it. It's
Yeah.
really about, understanding how are they designed to interact,
Right.
and then honor that. Communicate to them and honor that aspect of them.
Mhm.
Because a projector, if you go clean your room, they can get in there and get completely overwhelmed and go like, I don't know how to do this, right?
Right.
And you could do the same thing with a manifester, and they might walk in and they, through anger, they might clean it. But if we actually have the conversation correctly, then all of a sudden the whole thing transforms, right?
Mhm.
And and set the precedent. This is your domain. How do you want your domain to feel, to look? Do you want it to be chaotic because there's chaos going inside?
Right.
Or do you want it to look clean and clear and crisp because there's, that happening?
Mhm. And we just lost you there for a minute. So yeah, it's basically finding your um sort of point of contact where you dock with one another, where your child and you can meet in the design, because knowing your own design is super, super important. Knowing their design is super important. It's super important to the interaction. And it's not because it's a hard and fast rule, it's because it's the way that we know we're going to create the most successful results. So it's not taking away your power as a parent. It's actually adding to your opportunity to parent someone in a way that they'll respond in a positive and and understood way. And I think that that's important. I think intrinsically as parents, we do know how our children operate. And so we can, and we'll just wait till Leann signs back in with us here. She just lost her video feed. And so I'll just, hopefully she'll be back on. We can say goodbye to her. But I'll just continue on with sort of my own personal experience of using the human design as a parent and how much that really helped me. My oldest son was very talkative and it liked to inform us, where our younger son Aiden is more introspective, and that's his huge beautiful deepness and richness to him. I always say, that Nick and I, we do this very outwardly. Well, he lives it. He lives this. Aiden lives this. He understands who he is because he's been introduced to that human design for a very long time. And I'm just going to see if Leann is back here on audio. Are you there, Leann? I know I see you're on mute, but where are we at with that, Zach? Okay, I've got her things on mute, so let's see. Okay. Yeah, we'll get our last sort of in the last few minutes we'll get her back. And so there she is. Hello, my friend. Are you with us? She's freezing out there in the universe. So cold. So human design, there's some quick links on my Facebook. On my website, www.tanismcrae.com. You will find links to Leann there under the radio program. There's a link to Jovian Archive in the About section of my website. And here she is. I think she's animated again. Maybe not. Technology. It's unbelievably wonderful when it's working. And Not so much when it isn't. I'll just see if she's there. Yeah, she just keeps freezing it. Well, it's so cold out there in the universe, She's out there floating around in space and it's quite cold. It's freezing. So I would like to take this opportunity just to remind you that human design, again, is a great resource. There's lots you can find online. Go find your birth information. The more accurate your birth information, the more specific you'll be able to get to in your design. You can go deeper into your design the more specific you get. So there are links there for that. The other links will be to Leann's videos. She goes in depth into all of the strategies, all of the authorities, all of the auras. So just to recap, there are 4 auras in the human design system. The generator, the manifesting generator. Here she is. There you are.
Am I back again?
You're back. I think it's just so cold out there in the universe. You keep freezing. Yes, she did it again. I apologize, everyone. This is the sign of the times. Again, there are 4 aura types, and we are the generators, which make up sort of the bulk of the population of the Earth. So just keep that in mind. And the projector, the manifester, and the reflector. These are the 4 auras. I was just introducing and reminding people of the 4 auras.
Nice.
Yes. Anything you want to say? We have just a couple of minutes till we're done. And now that you're moving around, not out freezing there. Right. What would you like to say in conclusion?
So I really the whole core base of the whole system is, discernment, and discernment is your intrinsic right.
Mm-hmm.
And the system teaches decision making. And then from there, you get to master self, because you get to then go inside and watch the movie and see what's happening. And I think that transit piece is so important, so that we know that when we walk into the movie theater, we're not watching a horror film if we came in for a romantic, a romance film, right? So we can be aware of what it is so that we can interact with it, how we're designed to interact with it. Mm-hmm. And you have all of the capabilities, you have all the power to interact with life perfectly through your design.
Right. And how can people access you if they want to go deeper into the design with you specifically?
Powerofself.ca. So www.powerofself.ca. You can find me on YouTube, Leann Wolfe, and all my contact information is in both spaces. So,
mm-hmm. And then you suggest doing a little bit of sort of self-research and then coming in for session, or?
I'm just going to throw a caution out there.
Yep.
Be aware that you're going to, the websites that the information is pure from raw. That's just how I feel. Right. You can find it however you need to find it, though.
Perfect. Awesome. Yep. Well, thank you again for coming back and talking with me.
Thank you for having me. In and out.
Great. You bet. You bet. So I'll be back here in April with another guest, my friend Angela Ditch, and we're going to be talking about flowing through fear. She's an incredible yoga teacher, breath facilitator, flow coach. And so we're actually going to go right in, and we're going to talk about the elephant in the room. We're going to talk about the fear. Nice. And remember always, how I live my life is, if you don't decide who you are in the experience will decide who you are. Yeah. So we don't want that. We want you making that big life choices for yourself. So give yourself permission to know yourself very, very deeply, deep down. Embrace that human design and help you refine and define that. And thank you again, my friend. Fun as always. And maybe next time pick a warmer place to be so you don't freeze so much. Awesome. Thanks everybody for tuning in to Talking to Tanis, Evolve on Purpose. We'll see you next time, April 3rd with Leann or with Angela Ditch.